showrunner, do you have any abandonment issues?
You would be surprised at how easy it is. Like, people keep saying to me, like, do you regret it? Are you waking up in the morning? I'm like, I'm awesome. Like, my spine is so straight. I'm like sleeping well at night. Like, when emails come in, like at 11 p.m. from Jim Michaels, the producer, saying, we're 200,000 over budget, what do we do? I go, delete. Like, I go, it's not my problem, that's what we do. And so I'm doing great. I mean, that having been said, I'm still really actively, creatively involved. I think Sarah and Bob have really invigorated the show and have a really, ambitious and exciting storyline where to take it. And my role is just to be creative consigliere, like make sure it falls within the parameters, make sure Supernatural feels like Supernatural, make sure the character logic is there and that the character history is respected and that they're not suddenly off doing their own thing. But Sarah and Bob have been there from the beginning, and Sarah, frankly, if anyone, people should remember, she's written a lot more episodes than I've written.
Yeah, no, she's amazing.
Yeah, and from the beginning of the show, I mean, I think I've written 15 and she's written 20 or more. And so she understands the show inside and out, and she had a really clear vision of where it went next, which, frankly, I'm not entirely sure I had. And so I think it's really for the best.
We talked in the past about like the epic journey of these characters. It's kind of like the hero's journey. Where would you say they're at in that journey now, and what's particularly cool about that?
What's cool about it?
Where are they at in that journey, and what do you think is exciting about that stage?
Well, I mean, they're at a place. It's a very insightful question. I'd say like they finally reached like a massive amount of growth and maturity. Like, I mean, for me, Swan Song, one of the things that I insisted about ending it the way I would have ended it, whether it was the series finale or not, is not just wrapping out the storyline, but really getting them to an endpoint that we've been building towards from the beginning of the show. That, I mean, for me, that's kind of always what the show's been about. I know certain fans have complained that it wasn't like big enough, and my point was, sorry, but I wish you guys loved it, but the show had always been about these two brothers and their growth as characters, ultimately reflected in Michael and Lucifer, and how Sam and Dean can do all the things that Michael and Lucifer couldn't, and that they had to accept each other as grown-ups, they had to forgive each other their faults, they had to come together, they had to mature. Dean had to learn to not just accept Sam as a freak, but accept that being a freak is good and okay and smart and its own way, and he's not a little brother anymore. And Sam had to sort of grow up too and appreciate Dean as the two of them. And for us, that was what the show was about, and that's what saved the world, that the two of them could forgive each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, really in season 6, I mean, just to be honest, because we look at season 6 as the sequel to a movie, there's going to be a new storyline and there's going to be a new series of problems, and in a way that I think is going to be lovingly, which I think the audience is going to love and drive them nuts at the same time, new problems. I mean, so they've reached a point and they've come together, but now there's going to be new problems,
right.
And they're going to have new issues they're going to have to work through, and
right.
so their therapy isn't done yet. Right. They still have more growth and more change, because otherwise, I'm telling you, the show has never been the two of them getting along, patting each other on the back and fighting monsters. It wasn't that. In episode 1, they punched each other. In episode 2, they argued. That's always what the show's been about, and that's really in the DNA of the show, and so that will continue.
Absolutely, and I think Swan Song is one of the best finales I've ever seen.
Oh, thanks.
Series, and I wrote about how it was better than the Lost finale and all these.
Oh, right on. I think I read that because I like to read people who like my shit. So,
so I have a question. Okay,
so
is Sam going to be the older brother? Is Sam going to be the older brother?
What's that?
Is Sam going to be the older brother this year?
I think it's going to be different. I think they start out in a way, and then again, nothing is what it seems. It's a noirish season, and I think there's lots of twists and turns.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Any crazy episodes, like you have these conceptual, experimental ones?
I can just say real quick, Ben is pitching us an episode with fairies, leprechauns, and goblins.
Beautiful.
In a way that I think might be a little offensive. So I'll leave it at that and say
Sounds
that
perfect.
it blows my mind.